Good morning, everyone. It is lesson 62 in the Course in Miracles today. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. It is your forgiveness that will bring the world of darkness to the light. It is your forgiveness that lets you recognize the light in which you see. Forgiveness is the demonstration that you are the light of the world. Through your forgiveness does the truth about yourself return to your memory. Therefore, in your forgiveness lies your salvation. Illusions about yourself and the world are one. That is why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Your goal is to find out who you are, having denied your identity by attacking creation and its creator. Now you are learning how to remember the truth. For this attack must be replaced by forgiveness, so that thoughts of life may replace thoughts of death. Remember that in every attack, you call upon your own weakness, while each time you forgive, you call upon the strength of Christ in you. Do you not then begin to understand what forgiveness will do for you? It will remove all sense of weakness, strain, and fatigue from your mind. It will take away all fear and guilt and pain. It will restore the invulnerability and the power God gave his Son to your awareness. Let us be glad to begin and end this day by practicing today's idea and to use it as frequently as possible throughout the day. It will help to make the day as happy for you as God wants you to be. And it will help those around you, as well as those who seem to be far away in space and time, to share this happiness with you. As often as you can, closing your eyes if possible, say to yourself, "Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. I would fulfill my function that I may be happy." Then devote a minute or two to considering your function and the happiness and release it will bring you. Let related thoughts come freely, for your heart will recognize these words, and in your mind is the awareness they are true. Should your attention wander, repeat the idea and add, "I would remember this because I want to be happy." And I'm just going to, before I comment, I'm going to move on to Tina Spalding's channeling in A Year in Forgiveness, because I have a feeling they are very similar. Okay. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. You are meant to be happy. One of the great fabrications, we will say lies, taught about my teaching is that requirement for suffering and sacrifice. Suffering and sacrifice breed resentment and cause pain. Happiness does not. When you attend to your mind, when you learn that what you think creates the feelings you feel and whether they make you happy or sad, you realize that suffering is a choice. Suffering is indeed a choice. It does not make you holy. It makes you miserable. I did not suffer on the cross. In teaching the lesson to my disciples, I showed them that the body was nothing to me, and I did not suffer. The appearance of that story and the layers of untruth laid upon the story for thousands of years in your society are lies. It is not logical for the only Son of God to sacrifice himself in a painful way for the salvation of others. That makes no sense. What does make sense, and what is logical if you think about it, is that I demonstrated my ability to overcome death. I demonstrated my ability not to suffer, and I showed that suffering is not required. That let the crucifixion of my body be the last useless sacrifice demonstrated in this world. It is not required of you. You are designed to be happy. You have a guidance system that, when it is in alignment with truth, makes you happy. It is very simple, dear ones. We do not speak of pleasure here. Bodily pleasure is a different thing. That's a sensory thing. Happiness is a quality of mind. It is something you cultivate by the way you handle your mind, not what you do with your body. That is a different kind of feeling, and it can make you unhappy to constantly seek bodily pleasures. We will go into that further at a later date. For now, know you are meant to be happy. When you are unhappy, you are off track. When you are unhappy, go back to your lesson for the day and ask if you applied it. These lessons are not just to be said by rote, although in the beginning they may feel that way. About this time in the mind training program, as you apply the lessons, you really believe what you say to yourself. If you believe what you say to yourself and apply the lesson, you will not be sad. You will not suffer at all during your day, and you will get your days, dear ones, where you realize these lessons offer you peace. Then you wonder to yourself, if I'm feeling better after 60 lessons, how will I feel after 360 lessons? And how will I feel after 5 years of practicing this, or 10 years of practicing this? Yes, we want you to imagine being happy, so full of health, so full of vitality that you barely remember the life before A Course in Miracles. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and we will see you again tomorrow. I can honestly say from my own experience that when I reference my past, it is so vastly different than what my present day experiences are. It's kind of mind-boggling, but I would never want to have to go back to that level of anxiety on an ongoing basis and that level of fear. I most definitely believed I was one who needed to suffer for my life. And so I set out to prove myself right in as many ways as I could, whether it was issues at work, issues at home, the way people looked at me in a store. I could find my suffering anywhere that I looked. And when I realized that forgiveness is the light switch, forgiveness is turning on the light. It's letting go of the darkness. When you have had enough pain and angst and feeling of being victimized, that you just don't want to be in that space anymore, that you're ready at all costs to find your happiness, it comes down to forgiveness, because forgiveness is the pin that pops the balloon of that victimization and that suffering. When we turn on the light, the darkness goes away. When we turn on the light, when we let go of carrying that vision of the past around and that definition of ourself through the past, there is nothing. And then we can allow ourselves to be happy. If we think about how we get into that downward spiral, a memory may come up for us about a traumatic, difficult past event or situation. It is there for our attention, and maybe there's something that reminds us of that. Maybe maybe we've been having behaviors that are similar to what happened in the past, but they're there for an attention. They are not there for us to become sucked into that old vortex. But we start to focus on, oh my goodness, that was so painful. Oh my gosh, I must have been bad. Oh my gosh, they were so mean to me. Oh my gosh. And we focus on the pain and we focus on the suffering, and we forget that we're not there anymore. And so we're right back in that past moment. Forgiveness says, you know what? I don't want to go into that house anymore. I don't want to walk through the door of pain and suffering, of trauma and drama, and I'm not going to. And so, here's your key. I'm never going to use this again. I'm going to choose forgiveness. I'm letting you go. Thank you so much for your lessons. I've got other pathways. When we return that key, we don't have to walk through that door anymore, and we can choose happiness. And then when those thoughts come up, which they may, we access them in a completely different way. We go, wow, that was such a big lesson. I'm so glad I had that experience because it taught me so much. And you can even acknowledge, yes, that was very painful, but it is not who I am. It is not who I am anymore. And forgiveness then allows us to help other people to find that same level of happiness. The happiness has been there all along. When you're in the present moment, and you're, going about your day, you're okay until that moment that thought comes in. And then it's like, ooh, that was unhappy for me. That was not a good feeling for me. And then you pull yourself back out of your present happiness, which is your natural state, down into this state that no longer exists, and you believe that's who you are. Practice this as much as you can. This is a difficult concept. It's difficult because we cherish those painful memories. We cherish the stories. We cherish the angst sometimes, because, again, we defined ourselves by it. Be ready, be open, and be willing to change your definition and become your happy self and become the love that you are. Becoming the love that you are is the way that you fulfill your purpose in this world. Have a spectacular day, everyone. I'll talk to you again soon.